In today's video, I am going to give you a glimpse of Singapore at night. Enjoy watching! The things that caught my attention here in Singapore are their airports, their tree-lined streets, their subways, and also all their license plate starts with S. I think I would love to live here in Singapore. Singapore is known as the Lion City or Singapura and consists of the main island and about 64 smaller offshore islands including Sentosa, the largest of the offshore islands, Pulau Ubin, St. John's Island, and the sister islands. Two bridges connect Singapore to Malaysia and continental Asia. The Johor-Singapore Causeway links Singapore to the Malaysian city of Johor Bahru on peninsular Malaysia. Singapore shares maritime borders with Malaysia and Indonesia. Singapore has few natural resources. There are no natural forests remaining on the island. Only a tiny fraction of the land area is classified as agricultural. The population of Singapore is diverse. Chinese predominate and Malays are the next largest ethnic group and Indians the third. Singapore is the largest port in Southeast Asia and one of the busiest in the world. It owes its growth and prosperity to its focal position at the southern extremity of the Malay Peninsula, where it dominates the Strait of Malacca, which connects the Indian Ocean to the South China Sea. Once a British colony and now a member of the Commonwealth, Singapore first joined the Federation of Malaysia on its formation in 1963 and became independent state on 1965. Singapore is a city-state located at the southern tip of the Malay Peninsula about 85 miles north of the equator. It consists of the diamond-shaped Singapore Island and some 60 small islets. The main island occupies all but 18 square miles of this combined area. The main island is separated from the peninsular Malaysia to the north by Johor Strait, a narrow channel crossed by a road and rail causeway that is more than half a mile long. The southern limits of the state run through Singapore Strait were outliers of the Rio Lingga archipelago, which forms a part of Indonesia. Singapore's urbanization means that it has lost 95% of its historical forest. In 1967, to combat this decline in natural space, the government introduced the vision of making Singapore a garden city, aiming to improve quality of life. Since then, nearly 10% of Singapore's land has been set aside for parks and nature reserves. Sentosa are the largest of Singapore's smaller islands. The highest natural point is Bukit Timah at 537 feet. Under British rule, Christmas Island and the Cocos Islands were part of Singapore, and both were transferred to Australia in 1957. In 1824, Singapore became a British possession. In 1826, Singapore became parts of the Straits Settlements, then under the jurisdiction of British India. Singapore became the regional capital in 1836. Prior to Raffles' arrival, there were only about 1,000 people living on the island, mostly indigenous Malays along with a handful of Chinese. After being expelled from Malaysia, Singapore became independent as the Republic of Singapore on 1965. Under Japanese occupation, Singapore was renamed Shunan, meaning Light of the South. Singapore is sometimes referred to by the nickname the Garden City in reference to its parks and tree-lined streets. Another informal name, the Little Red Dot, was adopted after an article in the Asian Wall Street Journal said that Indonesian President B.J. Habibie referred to Singapore as a red dot on a map. The English name of Singapore is a native Malay name for the country Singapura, which was in turn derived from the Sanskrit word for lion city, which is Simhapura. Simhapura means lion city. Simha means lion and Pora means city. Pulau Ujung was one of the earliest references to Singapore Island, which corresponds to a Chinese account from the 3rd century referred to a place as Pulau Zung, a transcription of the Malay name for island at the end of a peninsula. Another early references to Singapore is Temasek, which means sea town, derived from the Malay tasik, meaning sea or lake. In 1819, Stamford Raffles established Singapore as an entrepot trading post of the British Empire. In 1867, the colonies in Southeast Asia were reorganized and Singapore came under the direct control of Britain as part of the Straits Settlements. During World War II, Singapore was occupied by Japan in 1942 and returned to British control as a separate crown colony following Japan's surrender in 1945. Singapore gained self-governance in 1959 and in 1963 became part of the new Federation of Malaysia alongside Malaya, North Borneo, and Sarawak. Some of the things that you should not do when visiting Singapore are: tipping culture is not the norm. Do not litter, do not chew gum, do not eat or drink while on public transportation. Do not jaywalk, do not smoke unless you are in a specifically designated area. Do not use drugs, do not forget about alcohol laws. Even at night, I can say that it is safe to be here in Singapore. And also, even at night, you can see that Singapore is clean and green. Singapore, just like New York, is a city that never sleeps. It is a great city for night owls and insomniacs. Singapore shopping malls open till 10 p.m. and they have a 24-hour eatery. Singapore is gifted with an abundance of lovely bridges and park connectors that glimmer at night. You can enjoy a night cycling sesh from Eastern Coastal Loop, which links from Pasir Ris Town Park to East Coast, and finally Changi Beach Park. You can also soak in beautiful night views of the super trees at Gardens by the Bay, Marina Bay, and the Singapore Flyer. If you don't have a bike, you can go for a short trip along the Helic Bridge for iconic views of the riverside or Henderson Waves at Southern Ridges if you like nature. You can also shop till you drop, wear anything under one roof at Mustafa Center, the famous late-night shopping behemoth in Little India. It is a paradise for bargain hunters and ardent shopaholics alike. Japanese supermarket Don Don Donki's Orchard Central Outlet is open 24/7 and Decathlon Column opens till midnight. You can also go for a night safari in Singapore and meet nocturnal wildlife. The park opens at 6:30 p.m. and closes at midnight. And don't skip the marvelous Jewel Changi Airport. The Shiseido Forest Valley with the majestic HSBC Vortex Rain is open all day and night. If you have any information about Singapore that you would like to add, please comment down below. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to get updates for a new video.